You've been here. A D&D game was scheduled or planned. It's a day or two before, and suddenly everyone cancels and you can't play. You sit down alone in a dark room and cry for hours. Okay, maybe not that last part. I'm writing this after playing for the first time in a long while, which was nice. It was fun. It helped reignite my love of the hobby, even if I grew a headache because I hate headphones when I play online. But how do these long, awkward gaps where you don't play at all happen? And perhaps better yet, how do we avoid them? The answer is a combination of factors. Most notably, D&D is not a priority to almost every human being, even the ones who play the hobby. Which sounds a little funny coming from a man who devotes a lot of his time to a YouTube channel about it, but think about it. If literally any other part of your life you or I might consider important comes up, there's a solid chance we would cancel our D&D games. If it conflicted even slightly with doing that thing. You get a doctor's appointment on a Saturday? Cancel the game. Family member needs help? See if it's schedulable. Otherwise, cancel the game. Work needs you? Cancel the game. But even if none of this stuff comes up weekly for you because you have a consistent job, a distant family, or whatever else, it may come up for players, and you need, most people say 4, I find 3 works fine to actually run a game. So if you have a 4-person group, 2 people say, I can't make it, you can't do much about that. This is largely because the D&D time has to be scheduled and you try to make it consistent. If we compare to other hobbies, I'll use this channel, my managing of this channel, as an example. It might take me many hours to put together a video. You know, it's mostly editing, but there's the filming, there's the this, there's the that, there's the scripting, etc. I am able to flex that around whatever I want. I can squash 15 minutes in before I go to bed. I can wake up at the crack of dawn to record. I can squash and stretch it into whatever spare time is in my schedule. But D&D isn't like that. D&D is a brick in your schedule that everyone needs to have as a brick in their schedule that they need to take care of. And if one person says, hey, I can't go for that entire brick, I can't be there, that collapses the entire thing, and it's normally like a 3-4 hour brick. And even if we try to move it to somewhere else, it doesn't always settle into the new position. You've probably seen a few times where you're like, okay, we can't do Saturday this time. What if we try Sunday? Someone's like, sorry, I got family dinner on Sunday night. It just goes on. Another matter is if money ever becomes tight, you cut D&D then too. You don't get new books, you try to pick up more hours working, so you don't have as much stuff for the games, you don't have as much time for the games. At least, normally. Once I came by an idiot on the internet was talking about how he blew like $200 on books, and when I congratulated him on his, having the money to do that, he started rambling about how he was poor because everyone knows true poor people waste $200 on RPG materials. All this can be summarized as D&D being a high dedication hobby to get the proper benefit of a long-term campaign, while at the same time not having the priority necessary to reach that dedication. And that combines with needing that dedication from 5 or more people, not just the one guy who thinks it's neat. And at about this point, I wanted to write a turn into the video, the part where we take the narrative and go, but you can fix it and you really can't, I'm sorry. There's a few mitigating factors you can work on, but I don't think we'll ever really rid ourselves of the issue of it's hard to schedule a D&D game, I'm sorry. The first mitigation you can do is, as a player, as a DM, make sure you aren't canceling whenever possible. Of course things come up, but that is the greatest contribution you can make to your group. Or failing that, make sure the party knows you can't make it as soon as you can't make it. Some people cancel like last day, and that's never as pleasant. The next mitigation, and this is a bit harder, is you can make new friends. I've played with 4 or 5 groups. Sometimes the games lasted close to a year, sometimes they don't, but always if the game collapsed, the only way for me to really start playing again was to gather a new group. This, of course, is easier said than done. If you're online, there are a lot of digital resources for meeting people, forming a group. Don't let Reddit horror stories scare you off. 97 out of 100 people you meet are stand-up people, unless you start cutting around political affiliation, in which case that drops to about 50%, but it's still a lot of people you would be able to work with. And the final mitigation I can suggest is bring food. People like food, people look forward to food. And then as you do this stuff and act as a good player, when someone from your group starts planning a new game, they might just invite you. That's all I got.